Today we're going to be working on a variety of different poses which take us towards a dancer pose, natrajasana. If you have some blocks, that would be, well, bricks actually, that would be really helpful. And also if you've got a strap or a belt or something similar, this isn't so essential, but go ahead and grab it if you've got one. Okay, so let's just start briefly for a moment to get centered. Place your hands on your legs or possibly on your body. And just take a few breaths to settle. Perhaps close your eyes. So a moment just to check in. Notice how your body is feeling today. Perhaps the state of your mind, your thoughts. And just checking in with the emotional quality that's sort of most dominant. Okay, and then setting any intention for your practice. Okay, and if you'd like to open your eyes, let's bring the arms out to the sides. Take a big breath in as you slowly stretch up. And exhale the hands down to the center. Do this 2 more times. It really is a breathing practice. Deep breath in. Exhale, bring it down. Last one, inhale. And exhale. And then I like to just circle the head a few times. So obviously if you're catching up on the recording, you might be doing this at any time of day, but right here, right now, it's reasonably early in the morning, and I just really like to mobilize the joints, especially moving the neck, especially first thing in the morning. So then you could go ahead and shrug your shoulders a few times. And we're blessed to have the sun today, so it's really beautiful morning. But of course, whatever the weather, we practice because we can create our own sort of internal weather systems. So on days when it's a bit gloomy or you feel gloomy, the practices that we do can really change our state. And over time, when we practice, then we start to change traits, so ways of being. Bring your arms out to the sides and then see how far you can bring your arms back. So your chest is lifting. So you're coming into a little bit of a back bend in the upper back. And then bring your arms forward and allow your upper back to round. What you could do here is interlock your fingers and then perhaps wiggle through the ribs. So you're opening up the back of the shoulder blades. And now as you bring your arms out again, have a go interlocking the fingers behind your back. If you can't do that, grab your strap. And then rolling the shoulders back, lifting the chest so the arms are a bit straighter. Totally fine to hold on to your strap if that helps you. And then I like to start just tucking the chin slightly in and down. Lift the sternum. And then you can also perhaps lift the chin. Just do a couple of little shoulder stretches before we get stuck in. Release, and then warming up the wrists, circling. And flexing. So you do this whichever way makes sense for you. And just a little bit of side to side is always quite nice. When we come to weight bearing on the hands, if you need to come back to any wrist stretches, just go ahead anytime you need. Okay, so let's come into cat. If your knees are sensitive, pop something underneath. And you find your tabletop position and begin to round, tuck the tail under, Chin comes in. Lift your tail, soften your belly down, arch your back. Now just get a sense of how your spine feels as you move through cat and cow. Start to synchronize with your breath, exhaling as you round. Inhale, arch. Keep going. Deepening the breath. If you're feeling a bit unfocused, this is a great way to bring the mind and the body together, using the breath as that link. Make it your own by circling the hips or rolling the rib cage, or carry on with cat-cow and experiment with any of those movements. So warming up the spine. Now puppy dog pose. Keep your hips above your knees and walk your hands forward. Depending on how it feels in your body, you can bring your chest towards the floor, perhaps keeping it a little bit up. If you have more flexibility, try bringing your elbows to the floor. So elbows about shoulder distance. Palms connect and the palms lift up, fingertips pointing up. Now the chest comes towards the floor. So what you might notice is we're just working a little bit more into the upper arms and also the upper spine. And then as you come back, fantastic. Now we're going to tuck the toes under and sit back on the heels. If you can't do this, untuck your toes, or you can always sit on a block or a brick. So we'll bring let's bring the right arm up like this. Bend the elbow, hold the top of the elbow. Left hand is drawing the elbow slightly down, but the elbow itself wants to push up. So it looks like this. And then you can start to connect in with your belly and lift up through the top of the head. Good, now switch. Nice deep breaths, building that focus. And release. Okay, bring the hands to the floor for your cat pose. We're going to come into down dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, bring the hips up and back. And you might want to pedal, slowly pedal the ankles. See if you can create a really strong push through the arms. So there's long spine, long through the waist. Good. Now walk your feet forward, come to a standing forward bend. Bend your knees if the hamstrings are a little tighter. Relax your shoulders and head down. Then bring your hands to your shins and come to a half forward bend. And as you start to look forward, feel that you're coming to a flat back. Draw the belly up. Good. Okay, now we're going to slowly lift all the way up. So that hip hinge to bring you up. Fantastic. Okay, we'll go through some sun salutations. We're going to use low lunge. So if you have sensitive knees, have that padding down below. Okay, as you inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, bow forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right foot back, knee down. Put your hands on the front leg, lift your chest, and I'd like you to draw the two front hips in together towards each other. So you feel the lower abdominal muscles lifting up. And so then from that place, with the front hips lifting, you start to take the hips forward. So it feels like we're getting a bit of a stretch through the hip flexor, but also lifting and engaging through the lower abdominals. Go ahead and take your arms up. Maybe hips further forward. Bring the hands down and step back to down dog. Good. From down dog, rock forward to plank. Come all the way down, lie on your belly. Let's take cobra. My suggestion is bring the hands further out to the side and a little bit forward of the shoulders. You're going to roll the shoulder heads back away from the ears, and then strong legs as you start to lift your chest. See if you can feel those lower abdominal muscles lifting up. Okay, come down, try it again. So with the hands further forward and wider, you can feel into a slightly higher back bend. Use your lower belly, legs are strong, a little bit of engagement through the glutes, and come all the way down. Okay, let's take the hands back so that you can push to kneeling. Come into down dog. Deep breath in. Exhale, knees down, right foot forward. Low lunge. Again, front hip points drawing in, lower belly muscles drawing in and up, perhaps taking the hips further forward, and then reaching the arms. So some of you might have the hands further forward, arms further forward. You might be able to bring the arms further back. So just work with what you've got. And as you exhale, hands down, tuck your back toes and step forward. Good. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale all the way up. And exhale, palms together. Okay, we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Just checking that we're not missing anybody on Zoom. Hang on 2 secs. Okay, Birgit, got you back, sorry. Okay, let's go for side 2. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Left foot back, knee down. Inhale the arms up. Exhale a little bit further forward. So zipping up that lower belly. Nice deep breaths. Good. And then bring the hands down. If you've got them, grab 2 bricks. If you don't, you can put your hands on the floor. Okay, so we're going to put the hands on the bricks, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Okay. And then see if you can find a little bit more, how to say, engage your back thigh, but at the same time, see if you can bring your left thigh a little bit closer to the floor. Okay, so we have a feeling of lift and lowering at the same time. So use your lower belly muscles, drawing them in and up. Okay, start to lift your hips and then start to straighten your front leg. It might not go all the way, and that's fine. We're going to rebend, keep that back leg strong. Back leg is strong. See if you can bring the pelvis a little lower to the floor. And then start to lift and straighten the front leg. This is exhale. Inhale, rebend front knee. And exhale. Good. Put the hands on the floor. Just set the blocks off to the side. Step back to down dog. Inhale forward to a plank. Exhale all the way down. Cobra pose with the hands a little bit wider. Come all the way down. Slide your hands back, come back into down dog. Good, breathe in. Breathe out, left foot forward, right knee to the floor. Draw in and up with the lower belly. Bring the hands up. Good, and just check that you're not overstraining through, like particularly the facial muscles. Relax the jaw. Bring the hands down, grab your bricks again, put them right underneath the shoulders. Tuck your toes, lift your back knee. Okay, so that back thigh is fired up, but you're seeing if you can bring your pelvis slightly lower to the floor. Yeah. And then lift your hips and start to straighten the front leg. So feel as though you're using your leg muscles. The two outside hips are drawing in. Feels a little bit like the inside thighs are scissoring towards each other. Set your pelvis towards the floor. It's that feeling of kind of resistance, like a push-pull. And then lift it up again. So you're going to exhale as you straighten the front leg. And inhale as you bring the hips slightly down. So using those legs, just feeling a little bit more into that hip flexor stretch. Good, okay. So this time, set the blocks off to the side and step forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, sink your hips down, chair pose. Hands can be just in front of the shoulders or arms alongside ears. Sink the hips down, a little bit lower. As the hips come down, the torso and chest lift. Good, slowly straighten the legs, come all the way up. Bring the hands down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, step to plank. Inhale. Exhale, come down. Cobra pose, hands a little bit wider and further forward. Strong legs, shoulder blades sliding down the back ribs. See if you can find a little bit more extension up through, so more lift up through the chest. Breathe into it. Strong legs, use your belly. Come down. Okay, stay on your belly. Bring your hands either side of your hips. Lift your legs and chest, arms too, locust pose. And you stay like this with the hands apart or interlock the fingers or catch hold of your strap. Hands down, press back, down dog. Okay, right leg in the sky, three-leg dog. Draw the heel in towards your bum, bend your right knee, and start to lift your right hip a little bit higher. Use those lower belly muscles. Keep saying it. Okay, and then square the hips, step your right foot forward, come into warrior two. So we take a nice wide stance, but comfortable for you. Extend the arms. Legs are strong. You can look along your right fingers. Good. Bring the arms down. Interlock the hands behind the back. If you can't do that, you can hold your strap. Roll the shoulders back. Draw in through the lower belly muscles. And then start to come just towards that front thigh. Keep your right thigh rolling out to the right hip hugging in. Then maybe you come down inside that right thigh and start to bring the arms away from the back. So we're using the legs strongly. Right hip hugging in, belly drawing in, back leg stable. If it's too much with this low fold, come up higher. Okay, and then slowly lift all the way up. Release the hands. If you want to give that thigh a little rest, straighten the leg, then rebend. Take the right arm up alongside the ear, bend the elbow. So just as we did, you can hold the top elbow with the left hand, or you can release the left hand down the back, bend the elbow, and interlock the fingers. So you could use a strap between the hands, or just hold that top elbow. So legs are strong, hugging in right outer hip. Nice deep breath. Soften the face. Stay focused. Release the hands. I'm going to dive the hands either side of the right foot and step back to dog. Okay, now a flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, cobra, hands wider and further forward. Exhale to the floor. Locust pose, hands either side of the body, lifting legs, chest, arms, or interlock the fingers. Maybe go the unusual way, so the opposite little finger on the outside. Good, and then bring the hands down, press back to down dog. Okay, so we lift the left leg, draw in the lower belly, bend your left knee, bring your heel towards your bum, turn the hips slightly to your left. Keep that right shoulder lifting, right shoulder and armpit lifting. Square the hips, step your left foot forward, warrior two pose. So we extend the arms. Building focus. Feeling the strength in the legs, and at the same time, maybe whilst your pelvis stays buoyant, so you're feeling how you're using your hips, you could sink a little deeper into the pose. And as you bring the hands behind your back, try interlocking the opposite way, the unusual way. Roll the shoulders back. Absolutely fine to use a strap, or just to keep the hands extended, or to use a different arm position. So we want to hug in with the left outside hip, ground through the outside of the right foot, hinge towards the left thigh, come just inside it, and then you might take your chest slightly more towards the floor as you lift the hands behind you. So do what you can. You're not here to push and punish and force your body. Okay, now we're going to use those strong legs to lift back up. Ooh, undo the hands, straighten the leg if you want a little breather, rebend. And now we take the left arm up alongside the ear, bend the elbow. Right hand could hold the top of the elbow, or right arm comes down, and you're bending the elbow, and we see if we can take that little grip. So this is cow face pose arms, warrior two legs. The elbows are in towards the midline of the body and moving away from each other. But actually, the focus here is on the top arm. So if you're holding the top elbow with the right hand, totally fine. Maybe sinking a little deeper into that front leg, so building up strength in the legs. Good, and then anytime we need to, we come out, we dive the hands down either side of left foot and step back, down dog. Good job. Okay, come forward to a plank. Slowly lower. Inhale, cobra, that little bit wider. Lifting the chest. And locust pose. Option to interlock the fingers. If you've done way too much of that already, you can bring the hands just extending out. Good. Hands come down. We press back. Come into down dog. And now walk your feet forward. Standing forward bend. Sink the hips down. Sweep the arms forward. Rise through chair. Slowly, slowly. All the way up. Arms come down. Whew. Okay. You might need to just give your shoulders a little shrug. Settle your breath. Now as you stand on let's stand on the right foot first. Bring the left ankle and cross it over the right thigh. So if this is tricky, so we're doing this, yeah? If this is tricky, regular chair pose. If you can do this, we bring the hands together and we're sinking back into this imaginary chair. So the left ankle is flexed. There's a little stretch for the outer hip and the glute. And as the hips come down, you're lifting your chest. Focusing. Good. Straighten up. Foot down. Settle your breath. And then the opposite side. Right ankle props on left thigh. Bend left knee. Sink the hips down. Lift the chest. Keep hugging in the left hip. Good, and then start to straighten. Both feet down. Notice how you feel. Smooth breath. Now we'll stand on the right again, and we're going to bring the left foot behind. Hold with the left hand. Lift up. If you feel really wobbly, some people do in this pose, you can hold on to something, a chair, a wall. So as you lift up through the belly muscles, lift up the spine. Yeah, see if you can take that left foot back away from you. So you might be looking at the screen, and otherwise you might find a fixed point in front of you to help you steady your balance. So you can go ahead and take that foot further back to roll the left shoulder back. And if you have the balance, right arm can come up alongside the ear. Good. And as you work the left foot back, feel into that little thigh stretch. You're using your belly. You can also engage the left glute, so the left buttock muscle. Come out of the pose, feet to the floor, and then settling breath, side two. Stand on the left, hold the foot behind you. Yeah, drawing up and in with the belly. Sometimes it helps to put a hand on the belly. You can bring your hand up and you press the right foot back. If you feel too unbalanced with the left hand up, you might even just bring the left hand to the hip or to the belly. Okay, you can probably feel the left hip working to keep you stable, and also the right buttock might be working. Ooh, yeah. Don't watch me, I'll put you off. Yeah, not a great one for multitasking, this pose. And when you come out, just stand and take a nice settling breath. As you're ready, inhale the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale halfway and step back to down dog. Smooth out the breath. come forward to plank. Exhale all the way down. Cobra pose as you breathe in, lift the chest. Good, and then stay and hold, keep breathing. So you might experiment with taking the hands further forward, lifting the chest a little higher, but use your glutes, use your legs, lower belly, so the lower part of the body is quite active, so that you can draw up a little higher with the chest. Shoulders are down, come all the way down. Okay, then locust pose, arms back, everything lifting, option to interlock the fingers. Okay, come down. And then just rest for a moment. So pop your forearms under your head and you can give your hips a little sway. So you might rest your chin or your forehead on your backs of the wrists. Okay, so we're going to try something called half frog. So we want to feel like we're using the lower abdominal muscles and also a little bit of glutes. So keep your right forearm on the floor. We're going to start with the left side so that you can see me and it makes sense. You bend your left knee, yeah? You'll lift up a little bit higher. So bring that right forearm back, reach back and hold. So this is like bow pose, but we're going to keep the left thigh down. Now, if you have knee issues, just go slowly. So you can just work a little bit into this thigh stretch. You don't need to go far, okay? So the knee is not coming miles out to the side. It's staying pretty much in line with the left hip. So as you bend your left knee, draw your lower belly muscles up. You might lift your chest a little bit higher. You might need to move that right arm. So it really depends on length of arms. So we're bringing the heel in towards the bum. Yeah. Now you might be able to flip the grip and hold the top of the foot, top of the toes, so that your fingers are pointing more forward. Don't worry if you can't do that. Okay. So quite a nice stretch for the foot. So the chest is up a little so that you can see what you're doing, but you're using your belly. So we want to avoid a whole lot of pinching in the lower back. Okay, and then release the foot whenever you need to. Come down, and then just a little sway of the hips. Soften your back, soften your belly. So for side two, again, it's like the front hips are drawing in towards each other, the two front hip points. Or you can think about drawing the pubic bone, the front of the pelvis up towards the sternum. So that's that kind of zippering in and up. We're going to prop ourselves on the left arm. Bend your right knee. See if you can reach back and hold the foot. It's not possible for everybody. If you have that, you might lift your chest slightly more, but you want to use your glutes, use your belly. This is not all about just crunching the lower back. As you bend the right knee, use the hand, bring the foot slightly closer in towards your buttock, towards the hip, perhaps just moving the grip. And I want you to be kind to your body, kind to yourself. So this is not about kind of pushing yourself into a pose. So breathing smoothly and softly. So sometimes we want to kind of take the body to meet those sort of edges, but certainly not moving into territory where you're harming or possibly injuring. So as soon as you need to come out, just come back down and then really soft, relax your back, little sway of the hips. Fantastic. We'll press back to kneeling and either puppy dog pose or down dog. Let's not take child's pose, but keep length through the spine. So you can keep your hips under your knees, take arms forward. Okay, and then walk your hands back and step your right foot forward for low lunge. Okay, So we're going to practice lifting the back foot. So definitely have some padding under your left knee if you've got something available. So remembering the concepts of how we've been working, in with the front hip points, up with the pelvic floor. So you may not feel it, but it's just bringing those two hip points in means we're engaging the lower abdominal muscles. There's a little bit of lift in the pelvic floor muscles. So as we do that, then the hips can come forward. So we're not just kind of flopping, it's really active. So I hope that makes sense. You can also use your left glute. So there's a lot of engagement around this back left side of the pelvis. Okay, now from here, the right hand could stay or can prop your forearm. We're going to see if we can lift the back foot and hold with the left hand. Left hand holds left foot. Yeah, if it's really painful on your knee, try more padding. If it doesn't work, go back to regular lunge, foot down, it's totally fine. Okay, if you're here, so notice, because talking, looking at the camera all at the same time makes me wobble, because your pelvis is coming forward, I don't feel like I'm right on my kneecap. I feel like I'm in front of my kneecap. Yeah, and you might also try changing the grip. So you don't need to do this, but if it's possible, you can tops of the feet, yeah, or just hold the foot. And you might hold that front leg, look forward. If you feel really wobbly, do what you need to do so you don't fall, okay? Release when you need to. Fantastic. And then just take yourself out of the pose. Okay, let's do this. So we might just stay on that side for a moment. So use your blocks if you'd like to. Lift up that back leg. Let's just go back to what we were doing, where we were doing that sort of scissoring through low lunge and pyramid. Okay, not pushing to end range. And I'm not asking you to overstretch the hamstrings here. Okay, so if your knee is okay, just set it back down, left knee down on the floor again, still on the same side. And then just for interest, we're going to try doing a twist, maybe lifting the back foot up, so that's optional. So you could turn, left hand can stay on the floor or block underneath left shoulder, turn the chest to the right, stay here, or reach the right arm up or back, or lift your back foot and hold with the right hand. So a lot of people find this much, much easier because it's more balanced, because your left hand is down and you feel like you've got a wider base of support. So release the foot. Let's set those blocks off to the side and come back into down dog. So in down dog now, pedal out the legs and bring your right knee to the floor. Step your left foot forward. So I'm aware that not everybody can weight bear this much on the knee. So please adapt and adjust. If you need to just keep your blocks on the floor and work like this, it's fine. And again, no forcing to lift the back foot. So we draw in and up with the abdominal muscles, moving the pelvis forward and down, lift spine, all the basics, hug in the left hip, lift the back foot. Can you reach back and hold it? So that left foot has you really balanced, okay? And then just playing, drawing the heel in, maybe playing with the different holding place. Lifting your chest. Trust yourself. When it's time to come out, just let the foot go. And then we'll take a little respite for that back knee. So putting blocks under the hands and then just coming back into that scissoring movement. So it's lovely just to feel those nice strong hips. And if you need to, just set the blocks to the really high setting. Okay, we'll put the knee back down and we'll do the twist with the option to stretch into the thigh. So right hand stays down. Draw up with the spine, turn your chest to the left. Could stay here, arm up or arm back, or lift the back foot and reach. Okay, so just playing with this pose, smoothing out the breath. Good, and then as you're ready, release that foot. We'll set the blocks off to the side and step back to down dog. So finding lots of length through the spine, lots of length. Okay, set your knees down. And now we're going to come onto the back. So if you need to make any adjustments so that you can see me, or even stay sitting, that's absolutely fine. We'll do bridge pose, do a couple of arm variations, and then maybe into wheel. So you have your feet quite close to your hips, and feet are hip distance. Hands stay on the floor initially. Lengthen your tail. Draw the front hips in. Press the pelvis up. Lengthen through your neck. You might lift your chin a little up so you can breathe well. Feel your sit bones lift you up. Thighs stay parallel. Inner thighs active. Relaxed face. And then if you would like to play with arm variations, perhaps walking the shoulder blades in, interlocking your fingers. Or sometimes I do little robot arms, pressing the upper arms to the floor. So feel those strong legs, steadiness in the legs, and a certain amount of ease with the breath. And as soon as you need to come down, let's keep the feet on the floor and rest the pelvis. Okay, we'll do some flowing bridge. We take the arms overhead at the same time as lifting the hips. As you breathe in, lift your pelvis, stretch the arms overhead. Stay here, exhale. Inhale again. And exhale, float the hips and the arms back down. See if you can synchronize. Inhale, hips and arms up. Exhale, stay. Inhale, fill the chest. Exhale, float everything back down. So all that lovely control through your pelvis. One more, inhale up. Stay in the pose, breathe out. Breathe in. And then all the way down. Okay, now you choose, you can repeat bridge, your version, or we go for wheel pose with the arms, hands alongside the ears. And so I'll usually lift the hips first, come to a halfway point, so top of the head, and then on the exhale, lifting all the way up. So if you're not practicing wheel, repeat bridge pose. And in these back bends, we notice how crucial it is to use the glutes, to use the legs. We wouldn't get up here if we didn't do that. And when you come down, so take your own time, again, resting the feet on the floor, hips on the floor, just letting the spine settle. And then take your feet to wide position, edges of the mat, knees are bent, feet on the floor. And you're just going to like windscreen wiper your legs, your knees, side to side. Just gently, you don't need to force the legs towards the floor. Good stuff. Okay, and then either rock forward to a seat or roll to your side. We'll come up to standing. Okay, so just take a moment to settle after being on the floor. Get your bearings. Bring your hands to your chest and belly. Take some deep breaths. Okay, now for dancer pose, actually, let's do one more prep before we do dancer. So sorry to make you come back down to the floor, but I think we'll add in pigeon pose. Now, if pigeon pose is tricky, front facing, I'm guessing if you've done everything we've done so far, you're probably fine with pigeon pose. But if you needed to, you could be on your back and do thread the needle pose. Okay, so that's the one, little bit like we did with standing in chair, where you prop one ankle on top of the thigh, you bring the legs in and you hold the bottom leg, okay? So if you're standing, inhale the arms up, exhale, bow forward, step into down dog. If you're going on your back, just go ahead. And otherwise, if you're in down dog, slide the right shin forward, come into regular pigeon pose, okay? And you're gonna use your belly, use your hips, so lifting up a little bit more. Staying on the fingertips so you can lift your spine. So in other words, we're not just relaxing down, okay? You're really using those legs. Good, now keeping that little lift with the pelvic floor with lower belly, bend your left knee. Fantastic. Right hand might need to come more to the center, hold the back foot. This is a lot easier for many people than low lunge holding the foot because we're not so much on the knee. Okay, so you can feel how what we've been preparing with those cobra poses where you're lifting your chest, the thigh stretch, yeah, maybe changing the hand position, and then release. Okay, now I'm going to show you. I know if you're practicing here now, you might not have a strap. So just while I show you, you can come out if you need to. What I've done is created a loop. It's not very, I've worn dark colors today, so it's hard to see. I've created a loop with the strap because it's a D-ring strap. So I'm going to bring that across the foot. So if you don't have a strap, you don't do this. You just continue as you were. We come back into our pigeon, and then you're looping that strap and you bring the strap over your left shoulder. Yes? So we may need to adjust a little bit. Be careful of your knees. The left hand is holding the strap. Right hand can be in the center. As we've been doing, that left arm is coming up. And then you can start to walk the hand towards the foot. Now, I need to have my pelvis a little bit lower at the same time as using my belly. Yeah? So we're here, like this. If you feel super steady, you might bring your right hand up. I'm not going to do that. And then you let it go. You come back. I like to come into down dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips, down dog. Okay, so side two, left leg forward, right leg straightens back. So if you are using the strap, you can sit off to the left side, hook the strap around the right foot, pop the strap over the shoulder, carefully make your way back into your pigeon pose. So, as you find that combination of pelvis down, using your hips and abs, either hold the foot, right hand, or hold the strap, right hand. Okay, and the right hand can walk in towards the right foot like this. So sometimes using these props makes us feel very fancy, and yet it doesn't really make it a better experience of yoga. So I think it's play, it's fun, it's a different way of using your body, but you have to decide which one is for you. So we bring the hands down, tuck the back toes, come into down dog. Okay, and then we're going to walk forward, bend the knees, hinge up with a flat back, all the way up to standing. Very last active pose, dancer pose. So this is very similar to the dancer pose that we've done already, but you might want to use the strap. Now, we're going to stand on the right foot first. So everything we've done, holding the foot with the left hand, bringing the arm up, lifting up with the chest, maybe this time hinging forward. So keep that standing leg hip hugging in and like this. So top foot might lift a bit higher, top arm might come a bit higher, using your belly. You can play with the strap. This is not something that I am particularly good at, but I'm going to show you. You'd hook the strap around the back foot and bring the strap over the shoulder. So as you lift the back leg, don't stop using your abdominal muscles, okay? Standing leg is strong, hip hugging in. Now, you've got to flex the back ankle in order to keep the strap on the foot. And you can walk the hands further down the strap until the point at which you lose your balance, and then remember to laugh and smile. So it's not about doing a fancy pose. Come out when you need to, okay? And you might want to just find center with some breaths, or have a little wiggle. And then we go to side two. So take your time. When you feel it's time to come out, find your center. No rush. And then we'll come down to the mat. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last down dog. Or it could be child's pose. And then I'd like you to get ready for Shavasana. So put on your layers, your warm layers, your cozy socks, anything else that you have that you might need. We're going to do one little twist to stretch out the back, and have your blankets ready so that you can just pop them on. So I will have a blanket under the head. I'm not going to rest with you for very long, but I would definitely After that strong practice, I would choose to have a bolster under the knees. So I'm going to get that ready in position. And then I would also have an eye pillow or something to cover the eyes. It's up to you. So everything just nearby where you can grab it. Okay. And then once you're lying down on your back, again, take your feet wide, bend your knees, and then just let the legs come over to the side. And you might prefer to tuck your legs in, legs together. Unwinding the spine. We'll take at least 4 or 5 breaths on one side. When you're ready, change sides. And with minimal fuss, see if you can bring all of those things in for comfort. And taking covers, getting yourself really warm. Maybe covering the eyes. So ensure that every part of your body that can be feels well supported, warm and comfortable. Take a relaxed sighing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. If it feels helpful, do this again. And then let the breath soften and settle. Softening the face. Relax the jaw. Throat. Soften your shoulders. Feel all the parts of the body that are touching the floor. Every exhale, releasing the weight down. Soften any places of holding. Nothing to do. Nowhere to be. Be here, right now. Slowly, slowly and kindly deepen your breath. Feel your whole body. Notice your arms, your legs. Take your awareness all the way down to the edges of your body and breathe more deeply, filling the body with breath. And softening as you let go. We'll start to move, stretching out your fingers, wiggling your toes. And you might like to move your wrists, your ankles. You might want to stretch your arms, stretch your legs. And go ahead and bend your knees, and either feet to the floor or knees coming in towards your chest. Give yourself a little hug. And then I like to roll to the side for a few breaths, at least 3 or 4. Just propping yourself on your side. And slowly using your top arm to roll yourself back up to a seat. Okay, so sitting tall, take a moment to notice how you feel. The body, mind, and heart. Bring the hands facing palms out. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, the palms connect together. So thank you for practicing. I hope you have a beautiful day. Namaste.